If you happen to be in Bangladesh during the month of the World Cup, it will be ridiculously hard for you to avoid the football fever. Bangladesh are currently ranked 194th in the world and have never managed to play the World Cup. But looking at the festive atmosphere, you would never guess that. Because wherever you go, especially in the cities, you will feel the hype, you will immerse in the culture, and you will see fandom like nowhere else. I'm Anaf from Plantik, and today we dig deeper to explore the World Cup culture in Bangladesh, but more importantly to understand the obsession this country has with two teams in particular, Brazil and Argentina. To understand this phenomenon, we asked a few football fans who grew up in the 80s about their experiences. But before we do that, we need to take a step back and start with the fandom in general. And in Bangladesh, perhaps the most acceptable way to show you follow a team in the World Cup is to buy flags. I went to Bangabandhu National Stadium in Dhaka, that is not only known to be the football hub of the country, but also the place in the city to get your World Cup flag fix. "32 teams are playing the 2018 World Cup, and we saw the flags of all 32 countries, from Egypt to Korea to Peru, and it's natural to think, why on earth would a Bangladeshi support Peru of all teams? Think again. Here is an Iceland supporter in Bangladesh this World Cup. That's right, Iceland. In the last World Cup, there was a mass movement to support Honduras. Yes, you heard it right again, Honduras.
Adelante selección.
It probably started off as a joke, but that did not stop the ridiculous following. Social media saw a crazy rise in Honduras supporters from Bangladesh, and in turn, the people of Honduras showed their support in the 2015 Cricket World Cup. This whole episode was weirdly beautiful. Going back to the flags, a farmer sold his land to fund a 3.5 kilometers Germany flag back in 2014. And this World Cup, he bumped it up to 5.5 kilometers.
World Cups, I had this conference in Manikganj. So I still remember how, when our bus just went outside Dhaka, there were like flags in every household. And I remember around that age, I used to count the number of flags. And it was fascinating that initially it was always, the Brazil-Argentine flag and the odd Germany but I remember, a few years back, they had probably even Senegal and Croatian flags. So.
Most of the people, common people, they even don't know the name of their presidents. Or the capitals, or anything common, the currency or whatever. This thing represents the country. Other than Lionel Messi, the Argentine flag represents Argentina.
আপনার কেন মনে হয় মানুষ তো পতাকা কিনে কেন বাংলাদেশের মানুষ এই বিশ্বকাপের সময়?
আসলে বাংলাদেশের মানুষ বিনোদনমুখী, সবাই অন্তত বিশ্বকাপটা পছন্দ করে আর কি, সবাই দেখতে চায়।
আপনি কোন টিম সাপোর্ট করেন?
আমি আর্জেন্টিনার পছন্দ করি।
আর্জেন্টিনা কি মনে জিতবে এবার?
আর্জেন্টিনা তো গতবারও ফাইনাল খেলছে।
Back then, a flag was the only way of letting the world know that you support Brazil or you support Argentina.
Growing up, in every World Cup, I always saw the country divided in two, but I never understood the reason. 80s was an exciting time for Bangladesh. Bangladesh saw a rise in technology. Color televisions, cassette players, new movies, music, and football.
I think, and whatever is happening right now, I think we are carrying on the legacy which was built in the 80s or in the early 90s.
So I think what happened at that point is basically people were like, "Acha, let me identify with someone or the other," right? And obviously, Bangladeshi tribalism is quite strong. Either you are the supporter of one club, everyone will support another club.
If you look at the surface, you'd say, "Oh, it's about Pele and Maradona." But if you analyze the social psyche of the nation, and if you also look at the time when television was introduced, the football shows were introduced to this country, mostly through color television channel, you would understand. I think I'll probably go a little bit deeper, which is, back then in the 80s, we used to associate ourselves not too much with the Europeans, but with the other ones who were colonized like us.
There used to be a book in the 80s that was part of the national curriculum which the kids from the 70s to 80s would have to read, and it had a chapter on Brazil and Pelé, the story of the best player in the world. football's magician, and kids at the time would have to memorize Pele's full name, which by the way is Edson Arantes de Nascimento.
In the initial stage, the way I got introduced to Pele was a big headline in Bangla newspaper, Footballer Kalo Manik Pele, which means the black pearl of football is Pele.
With all this, it's important to understand the situation here. To an outsider, this may seem like a petty exercise or a futile attempt to feel included, but it's actually so much more.
Alright, so finally, if Bangladesh ever qualifies for the World Cup and plays, let's say, Argentina, would it be hard for you to choose one over the other?
No, not at all. I think I would definitely choose Germany. No, I'm kidding.
No, not at all, not at all. Bangladesh always comes first.
No, absolutely no.
It would be hard, but our cricket team actually made it easier because I'm a die-hard West Indian fan. So I had to get used to the concept of supporting Bangladesh against West Indies. Maybe the first few times it was a little tough, but then it was easy. So when it comes to the football teams, I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Once we start playing the World Cup football, then I am pretty sure we won't see this many flags.
The passion for football in this country has always been a bit different. And despite all this passion and obsession, chances of Bangladesh playing in the next few World Cups don't look too good. But one thing's for certain, football transcends boundaries and Bangladesh is the proof.